Hello and welcome back to VIP Tutorials. In this video I'm going to talk about using everyday objects or pictures of everyday objects such as, let's say, flowers, and incorporating these into your graphics or portraits. For this particular lesson I have two samples. One is of a sunflower, and all I did prior to setting up the tutorial just extracted the flower from the background, so it's an image of its own. And all I'm going to do right now is go into Select, All, Edit, Copy, and I'm gonna take that flower and paste it right on the top of the model. The picture of a model is acquired from Photo Exchange, and I'm gonna go into Edit and Paste. Now the sunflower is back in our photograph. Now, whenever you're working with an individual layer, it's always a good idea to retain the original copy and work on a duplicate of that layer. So we're going to actually hide the first one for the purpose of this tutorial, and now we're going to start working with this little guy. So the first thing I want to do is create some sort of a hairpin. This photo is black and white, so I'm using really bright yellow colors. I'm going to try to add some life to that photo. Using Control T, I'm rotating and transforming the size of this flower, so making it a little bit smaller. So Control T shortcut on your keyboard. Gonna make that little hairpin right about here. And a neat trick or a shortcut on the keyboard to duplicate layers without right-clicking on it to save you time is holding down Control and Alt on your keyboard and simply dragging away makes a duplicate copy of that layer. Whenever you're transforming something and you want to retain the size of the width and the height of that, so it doesn't get sort of stretched out as in this case or like that, simply hold down your Shift key on your keyboard, and then you're gonna see that the size of that layer or whatever you're transforming is retained. Now let's make another duplicate copy. Control Alt on your keyboard, click on that layer, and let's make another one here. Let's make this one a little bit smaller, and we're just gonna place it right on the top here. Okay, and at the same time you can use parts of the flower as petals for let's say the eyelashes. So going back, selecting your free move tool, making sure that auto select is selected. Let's click on that layer 1 copy, which is the smaller version of our sunflower. Control Alt on your keyboard, and let's drag that down, and we're gonna just sort of place it right on the top of the eye. Let's rotate it just a tiny bit, see which part is gonna look better, and sort of the bottom part of our flower is actually sort of curving. Those petals are curving upwards, so I'm gonna use these actually for the parts of eyelashes. Now, simple tool, eraser, right click on the screen, make sure you've got a soft edge selected on the eraser tool, and let's just go ahead and start erasing some of these unnecessary parts of the flower. And now let's just adjust that a little bit so it fits the eye, and let's make a duplicate copy of that. We're gonna place that right on the other side, so actually flip it over. Okay, and let's just go ahead and move that to the other side of our face here. Alright, and we're gonna actually make that a little bit smaller so it sort of curves in with the contour of our eye. And the way to sort of three-dimensionally transform these layers is to simply grab onto one of these anchors at the edge, holding down your Control key. That will make only that anchor movable. So you're gonna basically move that in three-dimensional perspectives. And then let's erase some of these parts of the stuff that we don't need. Okay, making my brush a little bit smaller using the bracket tool on the keyboard. Left bracket tool makes your brush a little bit smaller. And let's go ahead and focus on the eyes and the lips now. So we're gonna actually colorize the hair the eyes and the lips. So let's go back here, select the brush tool, select color burn, blending mode, opacity of about, I would say about 15%, and let's, using a color picker, we're gonna pick something really bright, and let's go ahead and make sure that we're working with a background layer, which is our model. Let's zoom in and start working with the eyes a little bit here. Now, since I zoomed in, I see that there is a part of this layer that's actually hasn't gotten erased. So I'm going to actually go ahead and erase some of these parts in here. Okay, let's switch back to the brush, and now click on the iris a couple of times. Alright, making sure again that we're working with the background layer. Click on the iris about 2 or 3 times with that opacity, and we're gonna do the same thing for the area of the lips. So let's go ahead and highlight these areas slightly. Okay, now we're gonna also add a little bit of eyeshadow, sort of yellowish eyeshadow that's gonna extend a little bit outwards. And now let's switch our blending mode of the brush to color dodge, and let's go ahead and click on that eye, and let's bring the that brightness, make these eyes stand out a little bit more here. Okay, and now we can do the same thing with the lips. Actually decrease the opacity when you're working with the lips to about 5%. That brush will make the edges sort of highlighted. And let's see how we did so far. Let's take a snapshot, and this is how we started, and that's after applying some of the adjustments here. Now also, since the background is really not that interesting, we can also play around with the background, but let's colorize the hair with some yellowish sort of dark color. The best way to colorize the hair is obviously going into just the color burn, increasing the opacity to about 15%. Let's go ahead and select the background layer, increase the size of our brush to about 200. Let's say 100 is pretty good, and let's just go ahead and paint over the hair so they're slightly colorized, so we've got some extra effect going here. Now let's go ahead and switch to some brighter color. Let's use that to highlight the rest, and right around that pin that we just created. And we can do the same thing for the face, using the same brush, sort of add that little yellowish color around our model's face here. Okay, that looks pretty good. And also we can just change the background. Since the background is fairly uniform, it actually it does separate nicely from the hair of our model. We can just use a simple magic wand tool, select around it, and for this particular one I'm going to use a tolerance that's pretty high, 34, and I'm not going to be going into really deep detail with the background, but this is just an idea of what you can do with a fairly quickly with a boarding background. Going into modify feather, pretty high value, I would say 15. That's going to make that background sort of smooth it, and let's go ahead and go into selection. Let's inverse that selection. So we're gonna just select the model, going into edit, cut, edit, and paste. Now our model is a separate layer now. If you can see that, the background has been placed in here. So now we're gonna bring that flower that we start working with, and we're gonna drag that flower right underneath the model, and we're gonna use that flower as our background. So using free move tool, let's select the flower, and we're gonna expand it, actually make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so we're gonna have something to work with in here. Alright, let's press enter. Let's go ahead and apply a simple blur or filter effect, let's say motion blur in this particular instance, and you can really go nuts with the distance on this one. The higher the volume, obviously, the more sort of smudged that background will be. And now, if you're pretty happy with it, it sort of stays behind the model. And with these simple techniques, you can really play around and incorporate a lot of cool effects into your photographs. So thank you for watching, and please comment on these tutorials, and subscribe to our YouTube feeds. Thank you, and have a great day.